Yo, what's going on? It is Arnest. We have another episode of Flag on the Culture. Man, it's a lot been going on in the world. And as you might know, my co-host Aaron is not here right now. He has to take care of some personal things. So, wishing the best for him. And we hold it down until then. But my co-host stepping in, we got Ryan Simpson. So for those who do not know, probably those who've watched the last episode when we had Michael Trump Harrison, there's only been three people in Pasadena history who has 1,000 yards receiving. It was Michael Trump, myself, and this man right here. And the crazy thing about it, he is also Aaron's younger brother. So the ties, it is extremely, it's crazy how everything works out in the lines. But Ryan, man, welcome to the show, man.
Nice to have me, man. It's a pleasure to be up here. How you doing, big dog?
I'm doing good, bro. Doing good. Ryan also is still in the Pasadena area. He actually trains and whatnot. But I will let him tell about his business and what he has going on, man.
Yeah, so I kind of got into coaching throughout my process. I always wanted to be a coach. I liked how certain coaches had, made certain messages articulate to me and resonate with me. So they kind of stuck with me. So I got into coaching after I was at Mount Sac and after my little stint with Texas A&M Kingsville in Texas. Came back. I wanted to kind of retrace my steps as far as, my process. So, I started at Charter Oak for about 2 years. I volunteered there. It was pretty cool. I was under Dom Farrar and learned a lot under him. It was a great experience. And then, on paper, I wanted to make sure, for my first dollars in coaching, as far as a check I was going to receive was going to be from, Pasadena Unified School District at, Pasadena High School where I went. So I made sure that was a important part of my journey was, getting I would say like internships, just that little, experience without being in college or away from college. So I've been there since last year, 2024. We in the rebuilding stage, but we happen to win the CIF Southern Section, Division 13. I'm the receivers coach at Pasadena High School. So we done well last year. This year we were coming off a rebuild. We don't have any guys coming in, ineligible, missing games due to, transferring over and things like that of nature. So we were kind of like fully loaded coming in. And a lot of people kind of like got to see that with 7-on-7s and stuff like that. So we got a lot of preseason, noise about us, as far as like our competition and what the outcome had been in certain 7-on-7s. So we kind of rolled into the season. This year, unfortunately, we ended up getting bounced out the first round to Santa Monica. They're a pretty talented team, but overall, I think we on the up as far as rebuilding and stuff like that. I think the culture is changing. I think the standard is playoff football. Playing in late December, late November in the Thanksgiving break, early December, stuff like that. So I also train on the side. You can follow me on Instagram at route_runners_united on Instagram, and you can follow me there for training times and locations and stuff like that. And you can contact my cell phone number on there. Just press the text up there, and then we can talk about price and locations and stuff like that on there. But I don't want to do all that through an Instagram DM and stuff like that. I'd rather build a relationship with you, and we can go from there. So.
Yo. So receivers, man, y'all in the area, or if you're not, bro, I mean, I'm telling you, quality work. We get together, receiver DBs. I mess with Ryan because I know we got the same training as far as receiver, and he knows what he's talking about, and just the experiences in life that he has gone through and developed. So if y'all looking for that work at receiver, you guys need to tap in for sure. All right. On my end, what I have going on, DBs. Season just ended. I know you guys got to nurse up everything that's going on, but we have our DB membership, which is virtual, online. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter what city, what state. I'm currently in China right now, so get your work in right now, man. This is the time. At the same time, we have 3 tiers to the DB membership. So if you looking just to get back in the flow of things. We have one membership for you. We also have two other memberships where we actually talk about recruiting, how to build your brand. We also help you understand to get you to the next level. And at the same time, we also build up your football IQ where now when you get on campus or you get to the next destination, you'll be ready to go and you don't need to, your learning process doesn't take too long. So that's what we got going on. Man, Ryan, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. We got a guest coming on shortly. But before our guest, because there's so much going on in the world, let's start with this. Sebastian Telfair. For those who do not know, Sebastian Telfair was a highly recruited basketball star from New York. Actually went to the NBA after high school. Was in a league for a certain amount of time. Came out with this documentary, right? The documentary shows, he's back living in projects prior to him making to the NBA. This is a lot of people. This is controversy, stuff like that has been brought up because of this. Ryan, I want to get your take on this, bro. How you feel about this?
I think it's unfortunate. You know, a lot of athletes come up and they have daily struggles, throughout life, and a lot of people's why changes, and throughout your process,
Mm-hmm.
you start. I don't say you would lose sight of like your origin of why. I just think it just changes as you go, and then you kind of like never had or um came from less. So it's like you would like count your dollars and spend it before you got money. So I think a lot of that was happening with Sebastian Telfair and all that type of stuff. And then I'm pretty sure he got friends and stuff like, that he came up with that he want to do stuff for, and stuff like that. And, I'm pretty sure, after a while, getting told no so many times, and you finally the one that could say yes all the time, I could see how it could be, challenging to be the one to, assume that authority and be like, nah, I can't, like we're not spending here and there. But man, that's tough. I just think it's unfortunate, man, because it's just a lot of miseducation going on because he signed maybe like throughout his career for like maybe like close to $10 million. So
Mm-hmm.
where are the people that are so, like who is he supposed to trust? As far as um instruction with money that he's dreamed of having, but now he has it, and now he's not dreaming. So um it's tough, man, to even trust people to put in place like that, because when you put them in place, they charge it. So it's not even like your people is coming up with you, but they still want and they need stuff. So I think it's pretty unfortunate, man. So, but I mean, it happens. It's common. It's not the first player that it's happened to. It's not gonna be the last one that it happens to. Um, yeah, it's just like how can we move? Like, how can we prevent this from happening? Like, what do you think we can do to deter this from happening? Like with younger guys, like what do you suggest we do as far as like like financial literacy? Like what? Like where's the direction that we supposed to send athletes? And I think um, the answer to that question would probably like start in the prevention of mismanagement of finances.
Mm. Well, I want to say big shout out to him for even doing this. Like,
Sure, that documentary is deep.
yeah, because I think this is how people learn. Because wisdom, right, is learning from other people's mistakes, not going through it. And people seeing this, like, they may not know the details because we don't know the details of what's happened in this life, right? But now we like, bro, I'm not about to end up like that. I know for a fact I'm not about to do what he did because some people gotta see a visual. Like many people, you like tell them they don't understand the multitude and how you was living prior. Like This dude was a big deal
Right.
coming out of high school and even in being in the NBA. And then now to humbly have to go back is very unfortunate, but big kudos to him. And you know, I say this, parents and people need to be more vulnerable to share um, these moments, because if us as younger people, as the people underneath us, if we know these stories, if you share your embarrassment, yes, it's an embarrassing moment, but the other people can learn from it. Now, you shouldn't share everything with everybody, but at the same time, this is deep, and like I said, I definitely appreciate it. What's going on, and then two, the second thing we gotta talk about. Sometimes we gotta do some learning on our own, because hiring people, yeah, people can take advantage of you, but you gotta like figure out, just like an entrepreneur, how the basics work in financing.
Right.
So then when you hire somebody, you can tell if they doing a good job or not. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to know the basics. So now when you having a conversation with somebody, you like, nah, they ain't got it. They ain't not the best on the,
Yeah.
best on my side, or they don't know what they're talking about. Or you be like, you know what? I never even heard of this perspective. Let me learn more. They teaching me, they educate me. This is someone now that can help you build and grow your wealth, man. But man, big ups to Sebastian Telfair for even doing this, bro. It's crazy, but it's very unfortunate.
Right. It's humbling, but this most definitely gonna teach a kid what not to do, because you can learn what not to do, just like you said.
Exactly. So
They
I
even got,
guess.
as far as what not to do. Man, I had just seen it. Coach had put Marcus Freeman, coach at Notre Dame. He
Hmm.
plays he plays a compilation of football videos of what not to do in the game of football
Yep.
for that
Yep.
specific reason. And that's why I'm like, oh man,
Yeah,
that'll
it's crazy.
be a smart player right there. Because if you know everything what not to do, it's easy what you can do out here.
What you can do. Exactly.
Yeah, so
What you
uh,
can do.
yeah, I think that's like reverse engineering though. I like that technique for real. You know,
Yeah.
I
So
think
our guest is here, man. Let's bring him up. Yeah, let's bring up our guest. There you go. Alfredo, can you hear? Oh, you're mute now.
I think we gotta unmute him, or he's muted. He's muted.
There
How
you
about
go. Now
now?
we can hear you.
We go, big dog.
There you go, Ryan. What's up, my
What's
guy?
up? What's up with it, big Fredo? How you doing, man?
All is well, man.
It's good to
Let's
see
see.
Man,
you, man. I'm glad to be here.
Alfredo, good to see you on, man. For those who do not know, y'all see that big M, all right? So this is our rival, but this is all love right here. But
For
Alfredo, he is the
sure.
AD at John Muir High School. He's also a teacher there on campus, also alum of John Muir High School. So he's everything Pasadena, and
For sure.
a lot of people don't know. Alfredo also do comedy. We're gonna get into that later.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit, Alfredo, first of all, I appreciate you hopping on the show. And I know there's some important things that you want to discuss that's going on in our community alone.
Yeah.
But welcome aboard though.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me, man. Even though you guys did go to HS, my condolences, by the way, my condolences. It is absolutely Dina, and I'm super proud of you guys for having a platform to share your ideas, to share about local stories and what's going on, and to see you guys grow up. I mean, I've seen you guys since literally you guys were teenagers, you know what I mean? And so some of them even younger. So I'm just excited. I'm elated for you guys. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And I couldn't be any prouder of you.
No, I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
So
that, big dog, for sure.
yes. So we're gonna hop into this. So I want you to really talk about it, but there's something that's
Yeah.
happening in the Pasadena Unified School District. Alfredo, can you give us some more insight on this that's going on right now?
Yeah, man. So the unfortunate reality is that we are in dire circumstances as it comes to upcoming budget cuts. And so the district is going to be cutting about $35 million from their entire budget, which is just awful. It's draconian. It's just puts us in a really bad shape. And it's not just athletics. It's assistant principals, it's clerical, it's custodial, it's groundskeepers, librarians. Like, all departments are going to get hit, and to the tune of roughly 25 to 50% of every department is going to have their budget reduced. The only ones that won't get hit are like special ed, because you can't touch special ed at all, and maybe one other one. But for athletics, man, it's coming down the pipe, and we're going to take a 50% cut in athletic budget in the upcoming year, which is just awful.
That so many things going on, because it's like, hey, how does this happen, first of all? But in your opinion, what do you think that's happened that has allowed this deficit of 35 million that needs to be cut?
I mean, at the end of the day, to be completely honest, people aren't having as many kids as they used to. This comes down to a numbers game. It's all about enrollment. And this isn't, unique to Pasadena. This is in California. This is in the United States. I believe families now have about 1.7 kids, which obviously isn't Arnez, right? Arnez is doing his due diligence to get those numbers up. But the average family is having like 1.7 kids. And so when they built all the schools, they built them up during the time of the boomer generation, right? When the boomer generation were having kids, and there was just this explosion, and they needed to build enough schools to close them. And so PUSD started closing schools, elementary schools, in 2005. They did it again in 2010. They did it again in 2019. And in 2019, they finally closed the middle school. But again, this is not unique to Pasadena. Inglewood Unified just closed Morningside High School. When you think about what Morningside has done in athletics in the last few decades, a tremendous history. Lisa Leslie to begin, but there's no more Morningside. In Azusa, they closed. Gladstone High School got closed 2 years ago. So again, this isn't something that is unique to Pasadena at all. And the biggest thing about it is that we have so many people not having kids anymore. And here's what is unique to Pasadena. What is unique to Pasadena is the fact that 40 to 45% of the kids that live in the PUSD boundaries go to private schools or charter schools, or they leave to go to schools outside the district. And we have one of the highest per capita private schools in the entire country. But you know what? To be honest, people always act like that's a new thing. Pasadena Poly was built before Muir. Right. You know what I mean? Like, Pasadena Poly's been around forever. St. Francis is in the 60s. All these other schools like Mayfield and Westridge and Flintridge Prep, they've been around for 50 years now. And so, it's that part is unique to Pasadena, that we have so many private schools and charter schools in our area, and we lose a lot of families to that. And that's a whole nother topic, because that basically boils down to classism and racism that's been embedded in our community for 100 years. But essentially what it comes down to is, we get a lot of kids that go to other schools, and fewer families are having kids. And when you have fewer kids, the way that California funds education, it's like $14,000 to $15,000 per kid, right? They call it ADA, average daily attendance. And every school district gets money based on how many kids show up to your door on a daily basis and how many you have in your entire school and your whole school district.
Man, that's crazy that you shared that, because I'm in China, and they're actually the same thing out here as far as birth rate is dropped. So California, the US birth rate is down, China's down, but in China, at some point in time, they only wanted you to have one child. Now they're like, you can have three, right?
Right.
So, and then I think another thing, and we talked about it with DeSham on the show, how Pasadena has gotten so expensive that kids, parents have to move and relocate. This is also what's taking our kid or our talent out of Pasadena, which is making the numbers even lower there.
And that part isn't unique to Pasadena either, right? The fact is that black families and brown families are getting priced out of Pasadena and LA County in general. You look at the numbers. I believe in the 80s, Pasadena was 20% black. Altadena was 43% black, right? Altadena was one of the blackest towns per capita in California. And when you look at now, I think Pasadena is like 5% black and Altadena is like 18. You know what I mean? And you look at those numbers in LA, and it's the same there. You know, years ago, right, when folks lived in LA and they moved out, San Gabriel Valley was the spot. So a lot of the schools in the San Gabriel Valley were awesome in sports. That's when Blair and Bishop Amat played for a national title in what 1969, 1970. You know, and so, but that's because it was cheap to live out San Gabriel Valley. And then 30 years later, everybody's going to the 909, to the San Bernardino, Riverside counties. And that's where all the talent is now, right? So wherever you find the cheaper housing, you're probably going to find the better talent. Except for the Trinity League, you know, in those schools. But I'm speaking more to public schools, right? Private schools are a little bit different monster. But yeah, you're right, man. That the idea that the families have moved out and are getting priced out has resulted in a drop, not only in enrollment, but in quality of play. You know what I mean? When I was at Muir, we were D2, like strong, in the playoffs every year. You know, now, I mean, we got up to D4 this year. We're like, woo, look at us, you know? And so, but it's just a different time, and we have to adjust to that. But the adjustment is going to be made difficult with these cuts coming up pretty soon.
Oh, for sure. Ryan, any question?
I mean, you can kind of see why, you know, like all the talent is, you know, being dispersed. You have props being put in place, and then with that, you have school merges, you have kids transferring, going in. So it's just, you know.
Yeah, no, that's true. And you know, and within this opportunity for cuts, you know, there's some opportunities here. So it's kind of what I wanted to present to you guys. Like, let's look at it like this. We're going to get 50% of our budget cut, right? That's big. And what we did not want to do is we didn't want to cut a lot of teams. And in order not to cut a lot of teams, what you have to do now is you have to minimize all the other programs. So now I'm taking away. So now I'm going to be taking away football coaching stipends and all basketball stipends. Like the two biggest expenses in athletic budgets are stipends and buses, right? And Pasadena already pays one of the lower rates of stipends in the entire area. And you know how much Muir paid out to its 70 coaches across the board last year?
What?
$303,000.
And that's still low.
That's low. That's low, right? That's on the low end. And so we have to now take stipends away from programs. And the biggest thing is I'm only going to be allowing a certain amount of buses, because buses, transportation is huge. So I'm going to only be allowing like maybe 6, 7, 8 buses per program, right? Like basketball last year, my basketball team, they might have had 25 buses between JV, freshman, and varsity. Right. So between the whole for the entire year, right? When they go into tournaments and all kinds, maybe 25 to 30 buses between all three programs. Next year, I'm going to be like, you guys get 7 buses. You got to figure it out for the whole entire thing. Wow. And that is going to save me from cutting water polo or baseball or soccer. Like literally minimizing all these programs is going to allow me to save programs from just being cut entirely. And so there were 3 options. Here are the options. Number 1, everybody takes a 50% cut. That's it. You cut half your programs. That was going to kill me. Number 2, you close Marshall and Blair athletics, right? And you just allow them to have no athletics at all, and have Muir and Pasadena have 2 robust full programs, and eventually allow kids to sign multi-school agreements, right? Where you can go to Blair and go to Marshall, and you can continue to play at Pasadena or Muir. Same way in Glendale Unified, right? They have a magnet school there called Clark Magnet. Those students at Clark Magnet play at Crescenta Valley. They play at Glendale. They play at Hoover if they want to. And there's a little bit of there's a process there. It's not like we can just do that right. Your league has to vote on it. It has to get approved by CIF, but it can be done. What the district has really landed on is this idea. These are how the cuts are probably going to happen. They're going to be spread equally based on enrollment, right? So instead of Muir, For the first time in PUSD history, Muir has more kids than Pasadena. It's never happened. PHS always leads. This is our first year.
Yeah.
So here's what's going to happen. We make up 33% of the total high school enrollment. So we're going to get 33% of the budget. HS makes up 31% of high school enrollment. They get 31. Now look at poor Blair. Blair makes up 14% of the enrollment. So they're only going to get 14%. And that's almost like a 65% cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so and Marshall as well is going to take, they make up about 20%, 21% of the total population. So at the end of the day, what's going to happen is those schools are going to have bigger cuts than Muir and PHS are. And they of course think that that's not fair. And I get that. I understand that. But on our end, I'm like, if we have the most kids, why would we take a hit inequitably? You know what I mean? So all these conversations are being had. And on November 20th, the board members are going to vote on which one of the options they're gonna do, right? Everybody take 50 or close 2 entire programs, or everyone do it based on enrollment numbers. And once they finally vote on it, then we got to go into action.
And if I remember correctly, you guys have by December to show basically PUSD what you guys are cutting and everything, correct?
December 5th?
Yeah, so November 20th is the date that the board. So here's the thing. Los Angeles County Office of Education, it's called LACO. They're kind of like our big brothers. They look over our back to make sure that we run our finances. They're like a check and balance. And to be honest, we were supposed to do this in 2021, but y'all tell me what was happening in 2021.
We got COVID.
Exactly. So all of this got punted and punted and punted. And then we got COVID money. So then people were holding up a whole bunch of programs with COVID money. And then the fire happened. And here we go again. And so now this is where the rubber hits the road, right? This is where we can't punt anymore. It's 4th and 99 and we got to go for it. And so here we are having to make these cuts. And so LACO needs the district to prove to them by December that you guys have your financial stability in order. And if PUSD can't prove that, we LACO, we're coming in and we're going to do it for you. And we're going to make all the cuts, and we ain't going to care about your history. We're not going to care about your traditions. We're going to care about this because y'all need to be financially solvent. And if you can't be, we're going to do it for you. So they got no choice. The district has to do this because if they don't do it properly, here comes LACO and a bunch of things are going to get cut that we don't want cut.
Man, this is crazy. It's very unfortunate for a lot of people, and then for athletes as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, and parents right now, everyone's wondering what's getting cut, well, we don't know. I have no idea. I have 8th grade parents calling me, asking me, hey, is there going to be baseball next year? Are you guys going to have football? And I'm telling them, in the end, we're probably going to cut maybe 1 team, maybe 2 teams. And I don't know what that is right now. We have our ideas, right? But until the board votes on it, I can't really disclose exactly what that's going to be. But every school is going to be cutting some sort of team. And then on top of that, all the teams are going to be taking a hit. I mean, imagine Coach Brooks over at PHS. He runs one of the most successful basketball programs in Southern California. And now you're going to tell him, oh, you can only take the bus like 6 or 7 times. You know what I mean? Or now you got to cut. You can only have so many stops. Now, I don't know what Melody and Seth, the 2 Pasadena athletic directors, are going to come up with in terms of those cuts for each of their programs, because we all kind of have, it's on us to do it for our own sites. But I mean, man, that's a national program right there, and to be told like, yeah, we're going to cut 50% of the budget and it's going to affect you too. That's a hard pill to swallow.
I wanted to ask, because as an AD, you have a tough decision and you don't know which way it's going to go. But in your mind, what is the process if something has to be cut? And you don't have to disclose if you do, but what is that process to like, hey, these are the things that needs to get cut in order for us to have everything else, keep going forward as a school?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question, man. I mean, and every site is going to be different, right? Like, if I got rid of football, I wouldn't be alive anymore. You guys would
Yeah.
be at my funeral if I was
Mm-hmm.
cutting football. So, like, there are certain non-negotiables, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things we're not going to happen. And by the way, we're not getting rid of the tussle. The turkey
Mm-hmm.
tussle is one of the biggest revenue creators for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So PHS and Mirror, we can't get rid of football, but guess what? Which one is also the most expensive one to do? Football.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's a non-negotiable for us. So how do we look at the other ones? Well, we just look at it in terms of which ones spend the most money, right? Golf is cheap. I don't have to cut golf. Golf costs $5,000. We only got 4 or 5 kids that do it. So we're not even like, we might as well keep a sport that doesn't cost you any money. It's the big money programs that you have to cut that you're going to look at, right? And baseball, basketball, soccer, water polo, right? Volleyball, all of the sports that CIFs allows to play 28 games, right? Those are really expensive sports because of transportation. Cross country, you don't run 28 meets, right? Swim, you don't do 28 meets. Those things are generally inexpensive because they don't really cost that much in terms of transportation costs. And track and field, same. Now, the thing with track, right, there's a lot of stipends, but we don't have a lot of buses because they don't really travel that much, as much as the other teams do. And so you look at those big, heavy sports and say, well, which one of these are we going to cut? Now, here's the next layer, Title IX, right? So Title IX is a law that we have to abide by, whereas we have to give girls the same amount of opportunities that we give boys, right? Currently, Muir has more girls programs than boys, but because football is a big, huge sport, it's like, we got like 80 kids in our program, we have to provide a couple more girls sports than boys sports in order to make sure that those numbers are fairly, equitable and equal. And so that's another layer to it. And then we look at essentially like who has a feeder program, right? Do we want to keep a sport that doesn't have a feeder program locally? The last thing is the district wanted to make sure that every sport was going to survive at least at one school, right? So when we first did the whole list, nobody kept boys tennis. Boys tennis was gone. And then we're like, we can't do that. So I'm not sure if it was Pasadena or Marshall, right, that picked up boys tennis again. Boys water polo. Let's say if nobody picked that up, then Muir would have been like, okay, we'll be the boys water polo school.
Yeah.
That's where we were at. We were having those kinds of conversations, and all those things I just suggested to you, those are all hypotheticals, right? But that's what the district wants us to do, to make sure that every sport. So if I'm a tennis family, man, okay, at least Marshall has tennis. I'm going to apply to Marshall. But the crazy thing is but what if I've been wanting to be a dog my whole life or staying my whole life? Now I have to go to Marshall. And the district is saying, well, if you want to play tennis, right. And so those are the things that we are looking at all 4 sites to make sure that A, all the sports are kept, B, there's enough opportunities for girls as there are boys, and to see which ones are the most expensive and the ones that you can kind of cut.
Oh, that's cool, Ryan.
That's a lot of intel, a lot of knowledge of it. I don't think I don't have too many questions. I feel like he laid down everything as far as like what I was asking.
Well, I like. Do you have any like football specific questions?
I mean, like as far as like football, I mean, yeah. So the thing I was gonna ask was like, how did you count the buses? And then you said JV, and then that's why I was like,
right. So for us, for instance, I had to cut more on football. I'm going to have to cut more with stipends because I can't cut football buses, right? You only get 10 games.
You need those.
So you need those. And football is the moneymaker too, right? So I can't cut buses for football. So I got to cut stipends for football, right? Or maybe I get rid of our freshman program. Now, I was
okay. So since you say that, being that I'm at Pasadena High School with, we have low enrollment, we only have a varsity team.
Right.
So with not having a JV and a freshman team, like where specifically if you're a Pasadena high school athletic director, where do you make cuts as far as the football team? And what does this mean for, position coaches like myself and assistant from like myself? Like, what does this mean? For us?
I mean, the reality is, your athletic directors are going to have that conversation with you guys. And if it just depends on what, like I said earlier, what do we value? What do we think is going to be best for our program? Right. And what we try to do is we try to spread the cuts, right? It's not love. I ain't spreading love because this is hate, but we got to spread the cuts as much as possible so that everyone can feel the hit, right? We didn't want to favor any one team, but if your school wanted to favor one team, they could. That's their choice. That's their option. So at Muir, for instance, as a position coach, you may or may not come back next year, right? If I'm cutting 6 stipends, obviously it's going to be what the assistant coaches. But that's what Muir is going to do potentially, right? What is Pasadena going to do? Not quite sure. It really depends. And the ADs have to have these conversations with the coaches. And I've been talking to my coaches, and I know Mel and Seth do a good job as well at HS. And so I would imagine they'll be talking to you guys really soon, along with Coach Jones and D. Sham, to make sure you guys stay afloat. Listen, PHS having no lower level for 2 consecutive years is a crime. That's ridiculous. And I know the numbers are low, but we've got to change that. Now, here's the issue. Well, let's say Blair cuts football. Let's say Marshall cuts football.
Got more opportunity.
Now bring it. Now let's come over to Sierra Madre Boulevard. We get some numbers up, and we can get it going.
Exactly.
So that might help in terms of PHS football, right? But those are the kinds of conversations that are being had.
So I want to get your take on this because you talked about the stipend at PUSD. They are a crime, especially as a coach. And then if you're not a teacher on campus, it's especially a crime. So if you already, just for your example at Muir, you guys are cutting stipends, right? How much flexibility does coaching and the programs have to generate money to now pay their coaches? Because I know this was an issue that was going on at PHS those years when they was really successful and winning, and this led to D-Sham leaving because they was generating all this money and they wanted to pay their coaching staff. But I know Muir and PHS is different, but it was like, no, we're not gonna give this money to you. This belongs to the school.
Right. Yeah. No. So it is difficult. It's a difficult conversation, and we have to come up with creative ways to pay coaches. We just do. For instance, this past summer, Learns is a program in Pasadena Unified School District that offers after-school opportunities for usually middle school kids and elementary kids to participate in extracurriculars, sports being obviously the most notable one. But Learns approached the high schools and said, hey, we would love to have your coaches come for 1 week out this summer, and they'll get paid at the hourly rate. And we want them to coach the middle school kids in whatever sport that they have, right? So Coach Lance, our boys water polo team, Reggie Swain over our girls basketball coach, right? They all had programs during the summer that they got paid for. Now, again, it isn't something that, if you're coaching, you're doing it for the love. We just want respect pay, right? That's all we ask for, respect pay. Because the truth is, we're giving kids rides after practice. We're feeding kids lunches. We're breaking our backs in order to make sure that the kids get what they deserve, and maybe what we had when we were in high school. But the unfortunate reality is that it is expensive. The district doesn't have necessarily the funds to do that. We should have more, and stipends should be paid more. And can I be honest with you? Like, to be honest, the stipends at even the other schools in the other big school districts, let's say you get paid $7,000, right? When you come from PUSD, like $7,000, dang. But let's be honest, y'all are doing way more than $7,000 worth of work. Like, you guys honestly should be getting paid like $20,000, right? For what you do. But the truth is, that'll never happen.
Yep.
$20,000 will break districts. You know what I mean? And so if you're doing this, you're kind of doing it for the love. But what we would like to do is at least be comparable with other school districts. If we're on the same page, then I'm not mad at that, right? Because that's what everybody else is doing. Let's get on board with them. But here we are, we pay the worst, and now we're cutting money. So stipend raises, we're not going to have that conversation until later on down the road, when possibly, and I'm saying possibly because I got to be careful what I say on here, eventually we may have to close some schools. That is a reality, right? That a possibility of consolidation of school closure. When it comes to budget cuts, that conversation always pops off. We need to close schools. And you know what? Maybe we do, right? As a school member, as I have to be, as an athletic director, I have to be careful what I say because I'm a member of the community, and so people will look at me and say, "Hey, the AD at Muir and the principal at Muir, they're always talking about school closure, and that's scaring families from going to Marshall or going to Blair." So we have to be we got to tread lightly and tiptoe around it. But the reality is school closures are going to be something that the district is going to be facing in the next 5 to 7 years for sure. And
That raises another concern of mine because I didn't mention earlier, I'm also an ABA therapy. So I work with children on the spectrum and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As far as these budget cuts, I hear them always mentioning how special education is fine. Special education is fine. Like, is there any way you can like take a deep dive and into how special education is like
untouchable,
preserved or untouchable and stuff like that?
Yeah, because special education is done through an IEP, an individualized education program, right? And those documents are legal documents. So once it comes under the guise of anything that's legal, that is what it is. Those kids, and by the way, their parents have been fighting for these things to get these services because their children have needs. And 30, 40 years ago, those kids weren't being helped at all, right? We've come a long way to help out kids who have IEPs. And so because of the legal documentation that our IEPs and all the other stuff through special ed departments and fields, those things are pretty non-negotiable and you just can't touch those. Yeah.
So go ahead, Ryan.
I'm just saying that eases my mind as far as 35 million.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, the truth is special education expenditures rise every year, and it's a problem. I don't mean to say it's a problem like it's a bad thing. I'm just saying when districts do their budget and try to become financially stable, and you have rising costs, whether it's special ed or cost of living or negotiating with teachers for who want a pay raise, you have to consider all that stuff. PUSD is one of the most litigated districts around. People sue PUSD all the time. They have to have their own special department, right? And be prepared and pay lawyers all the time, right? When parents with IEPs sue the district or parents sue the district for other reasons. It's a very litigious district, which is unfortunate because that's money we could be spending in the classroom. But when you have people who sue a lot, you need to have a department to be prepared for it so that you don't spend more money than you need to.
I want to change it back over to athletics because something was just passed that you worked a lot. You were a big component of this. So there was a kind of conference realignment that goes into effect next year. Can you explain how this realignment works and how does the cuts possibly affect the alignment?
That's an excellent question, Arnaz. Excellent question. So, let me just start with this quick story. I'm a teacher as well. I teach English, and Muir's girls' sports programs were awful. They were just terrible in terms of being competitive. I'm talking volleyball. I'm talking softball. I'm talking water polo. I'm talking, even girls track and girls basketball eventually at Muir started to get real bad. And so I'll be in class and I'd talk to my, students young ladies who were athletes, and they, we'd play Arcadia or Crescendo Valley or Burroughs, teams in our league, and they wouldn't even want to go. They'd be like, I don't even want to play today. We're going to lose a soccer game 20-1. We're going to lose a softball game 33-2. What's the point, right? And so it just got my mind spinning. And a long time ago, I got together with a group of people that helped get Marshall out of their league. Marshall was in the league with like Sierra Canyon and Paraclete, like way back before those schools kind of blew up and became what they are. Oh, they were in the Alpha League. Yeah, for sure. They were even that. You know who else was in that league? Was that school, that jail school, that prison school, Kilpatrick.
Kilpatrick, yeah.
Yeah, that movie that what's his name? The Rock did.
Yeah.
So there, Marshall was in that league, right? And so
that's right. They had some games. I went to a game. My boy played on the Kilpatrick basketball. I went to his game at Marshall, and he did all right.
So anyhow, we helped get them out that league. And what I had noticed was that all these schools in our league got 2,500 kids or more, and this was when Muir had like 800, 900. We were below 1,000. I think HS might have had 17 or 18 at the time. And but I'm like, man, these huge schools, right? And they got money and they got club sports and they got resources and they got all kind of stuff that we don't have. And I started thinking, I was like, we don't belong in this league. We don't belong in the Pacific League. Why are we in this league? And I'm looking around, I'm looking at other schools, and I look at Mark Keppel. Like, they're awful in there? Why are they in that league? And I'm looking over here at Mountain View, and why are they? And so it just got my head. I'm like, what are we doing here? Why are we stuck in these old leagues that really aren't very fair? Between 2000 and I think 2010 and like maybe 2022, I think Muir had won a total of 4 or 5 league championships in all sports. 4 or 5 league championships in all sports in 12, 13 years. And Arcadia, I looked at their Instagram one day, they had won 6 league championships in spring. I'm like, how is this even, what are we doing here? All right. So fast forward, I was like, man, we got to change this. And so I really studied some other areas, especially the Downey area, the 605 area. They had just started a conference, and it was something that I was kind of leaning toward. And what a conference does is it basically allows each sport at each school to be in the league that they belong in. You get a bunch of schools, you get 16 for us, you divide it into League A, League B, and League C, right? And depending on how the CIF rankings put you at the end of the regular season, you're going to fall in League A, League B, or League C, right? So for instance, Muir football next year will be in League A. Pasadena will be in League B. We're still going to have the tussle, though. I'll talk about that in a second. So what we want to do, our girls volleyball will be in League C. Our boys baseball will be in League B. And it all depends. Now that CIF has competitive equity, which I love. I love the playoff model. A lot of people hate it for a lot of reasons. I love it. Love it, love it. I can tell you why. But because we have that now, we can use those CIF rankings to now place teams 1 through 16 in every sport. And then we divide those teams up into 3 leagues. And now you're playing teams like you. Why is Hoover ever playing us in football?
Exactly.
It's unfair to Hoover. It's unfair to us.
Yeah.
Completely. Last year when we beat Hoover in football, 84-0, we dropped 10 in the rankings and they jumped up 12, right? Because it's all because of strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Right? This year, guess what Hoover did? They took one of our games away. They forfeited a game. They forfeited. Yeah. And Glendale forfeited against Burbank. So now our football players, everybody plays 10 games except for our kids. They get 9.
Yeah.
Right? Burbank's only got 9. And that's not fair to our kids. Just like it wasn't fair to those programs when I had to cancel girls soccer or girls basketball for whatever reasons I had to do that for. And so now what you do is you put every sport in their own league, depending on their ranking from the year before. All right. And so it makes it balanced. It makes it equitable. And now, like I told you earlier, when Hoover played us and they jumped up in the rankings, that's never going to happen again. That's unfair for them to jump in the rankings because they got to play us. It's also unfair for us to drop. Now, I loved being in D4. I listen, I wanted to be in D4. That Charter Oak game, dude, man, we were a D4 team. But let me tell you, had we played Hoover, if Hoover doesn't forfeit, we drop down into D5.
Yeah.
We're a D5 team this year. And so those things kind of matter. We can't afford to lose games. And Hoover just said, look, we're getting beat up in league. We got beat up by Burbank. We got beat up by PHS. We have no numbers now. It's week 9. Our kids are hurt. So we can't play all this week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to avoid that. So how do you avoid that? You create a conference, right? You put it in these 3 leagues. And by the way, it was a lot of work. That took like 2 years.
Yeah.
Going to school. I went from Castaic to Compton, talking to schools and trying to convince them to vote for us. And when we had the big vote last year and the big old meeting with all 57 schools, it was a real process and it was difficult, but we finally won in the end. And I thank God because, it's going to really, really help all of our schools, all of our teams, and all of our programs to be in the league that they belong in, which will then put them in the playoff division that they belong in. Yeah. So that's, and so now the question is, well, how do the budget cuts affect us? It kills it. And it doesn't kill it. It hurts it.
Yeah.
Right. So myself and Dr. Gray, our principal, we really worked our butts off to get this conference model. And everybody's like, all right, let's do it. And then now we're cutting 50%. And we're going to these conference meetings like, hey, guys, we're sorry. We're not going to have basketball. They're not going to have swim. They're not going to have baseball. And we become bad partners. So that's how it really kind of will affect us a little bit moving forward, negatively. But I think we'll be able to solve some problems and fix some issues and get it right. And but no, I appreciate you asking that, man, because that thing took a long time and there's a whole lot of work. Yeah.
Now, and kudos to you and everybody that was with you guys, because not only that, it was kind of a ripple effect. Like you said, other conferences, some other people moved in, some other conferences I read. So you said there's going to be 16. How many in our area will now be in this league? Because I know Monrovia, I know some other schools, but can you just say that the schools that now is going to be in this conference?
No, absolutely. Great question. So we're combining the Pacific League with the Rio Hondo League, and we're adding Gabrielino and Marshall. So the Pacific League, Arcadia, Burbank, Burroughs, Crescenta Valley, Glendale, Hoover, Muir, Pasadena, right? And the Rio Hondo is La Cañada, South Pass, San Marino, Monrovia, Temple City, and Blair. Okay, so those 14 teams, in addition to Marshall and Gabrielino, who are coming to us from the Mission Valley League. And so those are the 16 programs. So now for the first time, I don't know about ever, but probably all 4 PUSD teams are going to be within the same conference, right? The same league, which is kind of cool. It's to be a part of that. For instance, like my volleyball program has not been strong. I only had a strong for maybe 1 or 2 years. Volleyball's traditionally not that good. But and so we're on the same pair with Blair. Like our Blair Muir volleyball games are great. They're fun. The kids like it. We don't have to go against Arcadia anymore and lose 25-3 in a set. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's I can't wait for it. I'm super, super excited about it. And like I said, I'm excited about the playoff model too.
I definitely think, and I see the value of if you're not good, yes, you go down and you get to, be where you should be at the point in time. But at some time, if you start to excel, you get to move up, which now, you like, oh yeah, we can't, we want to be here, because there are some teams that will do that. No, we want to stay down here because we're winning. No, it's time for you to move up now.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
You up to this caliber. So I think it shows fair. But I want to get your take on it, because you mentioned this playoffs, and everybody across California is in an uproar. Twitter every week is talking about the playoff system. So Why do you think this playoff system is favorable, at least in your eyes?
Because there's a lot of reasons, but I'll say this again: you are pitting teams who are similar circumstances in the same divisions, right? Yeah. And so back in the day when you guys played and when I played, you know, your whole league went to the same division. So look,
okay,
if Hoover had ever gotten third or fourth place in our league, you think they were going to do anything in D4, D5? Yep. You think when Muir baseball goes to the playoffs, if we got lucky, we move up to D2? We were in Division 1.
Yep, Division 1.
When I played baseball at Muir, we were in Division 1 because of Arcadia and CV. Yep. They dragged us up. The reason why we're here, there's a CIF commissioner named Rob Wygod, and he was a coach at Lakewood High School, right? He was a big Lakewood guy. And what happened was all the sports, they were in the same league as Long Beach Poly. So they would get dragged up to Division 1 for all their sports, and they would get waxed because they didn't belong there. They didn't belong there at all, right? It's just like when in 06, when in the class of 06, right, fall of 05, at Muir, you had people like Forrest Elder, Marquise Ross, you had Lance Mitchell, you had all these really good Tyler T. Robe, Tyler Roby. You had a fantastic team, right? And they had to play Notre Dame in the second round. Notre Dame had 5 dudes that were going D1 the next year. We had no business playing them at all. Right? That team should have been in Division 1 or Division 2. But because they were predetermined divisions at that time, and you went where your league went, right? You were stuck in that division. This changes all that. You are based on how you did that year, right? How good were you that year? What about a team? What about how in Charter Oak, right? When they used to get all the Pasadena kids.
Exactly.
Right? And then they would win these D8, D9 divisions, right? D7 in the mid 2000s and late 2000s, right? That wasn't fair. Those teams should have been in D3, D4, right? And had they been in the system the way that it is now, they would have been in those divisions, right? But they ran right through the playoffs. Okay,
even Oaks Christian as well. How they won all their championships,
bro. Oaks Christian was winning D11 championships, right? If you look at some of these schools, they're tiny. Sierra Canyon is a small school.
Yes,
right. They used to be in Marshall's League, for crying out loud. Right. So now they've grown into something different. And so what I like about it is you are based on your team right now. And that to me is the best way to go. People tell me, Fredo, but Muir's football, y'all won league. How are you on the road as a league championship week 1? And I tell them, well, what about Charter Oak? How mad were they that they had to play us? They like, damn, we got lucky to beat this team that was up 12 with 6 minutes to go. And now we got to play. We're the number 1 seed at Charter Oak. We got to play Muir in the first round. Man, that's terrible. But it's not terrible. It's equal. It's equitable. And that game that we played last week, that was a battle of the ages, man. It was a tough, hard-fought, physical game that an amazingly well-coached cornerback made the play of his lifetime, and high IQ play. And you just got to tip your cap to that kid because he read Coach Marquise's hand signals, and he said that in an interview. He said, "I read his hand signals." Yeah, just on Wednesday night, they have a Spaces on Twitter. He said, "I saw the coach. He did this squabble up, and he said, and I saw they ran a slot fade." And he said, I knew it was coming. So I baited the quarterback. I dropped back. I made the pick. Right? Hey, you deserve that, bro. That's high level, right? But we belonged in that game. We're a D4 team. Had we been in, we won D10, 3 years ago? Right? If this team was in D10, we'd be blowing teams out right now. You know what I mean?
And I think, and it's kind of disrespectful because HS won last year. It was unfortunate they didn't have a lot of people towards the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year they had eligible players, which we know they didn't deserve to be in that in the playoffs at that point, just talent wise. When you guys won the championship as well, as a team, yes, but we knew athletically the personnel that you had it was more superior. That's the only reason why it's kind of like I've seen other teams. I think it was Crenshaw a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They got in and they only won like 2 games. I was like, how are they in the playoffs?
Yeah.
And I was just like, the new playoff system allowed them to. And it was just like, I see how it is for the most part. I see how it makes sense. You play where you are, which everybody should at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it's kind of rewarded for you having a bad season.
I got a fix for that.
Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead. What would you propose for that?
We got too many divisions.
True.
Cut a division.
Yep.
It's 14 divisions, right?
14 divisions. We got too many. So look, across all the leagues, you get an automatic qualifier. It's a team that finished first, second, or third. Right. In a 4-team league, you got to finish second place. All right. There's 180 qualifiers. Okay. Just in the entire southern section. There's 14 divisions. Right. That's 224 slots.
Yep.
Okay. All right. You take away 8 because D1 is 8 now. They don't do 16. There's just 8 teams, not 16. All right, cool. There's 216 teams. So you got 180 qualifiers, and now you got 36 at-large teams? Why? What? Cut a division. Go from 36 down to 20. Or how about this? Cut 2 divisions. Just go D12. Now we got 184 slots for 180 teams. And now you only get 4 at-larges. So the 2-8 team, Charter Oak was 2-8. They went to the championship.
Yeah, they went. I was over there. That was that volunteer year. I was over there.
2-8. And St. Pius last year went 1-9 and won CIF.
Yep.
Right. This year Upland is 2-8, and they just beat Los Altos, who was 10-0. But here's the thing: if you get rid of one division, you're eliminating those sub 500 teams. There was only 6 of them this year. Only 6. Last year there was 8. But if you get rid of a division of 16 teams, you're not going to see those teams in the playoffs no more. Those teams aren't going to get rewarded anymore. And it's an easy fix, bro. You just literally cut one division or 2. Now, people say, well, why won't you cut it? That's easy. That's a great answer, Fredo. Well, it's money. CIF only makes money during the playoffs. So if you cut a whole division, you're cutting like 8 games for them. That's almost maybe $150,000, $100,000 to $150,000, right? That they would miss out on. Okay, that's fair. But they just cut a division for water polo. They went from D6 to D5. They used to give out at-larges for water polo like candy. Here's because all you got to do is get a 500 record and you can apply for at-large, right? At the end of the year, if we were like 12 and 14, I would schedule Blair 2 times.
Yeah.
Hey, Blair, let's play a home and away so that my team can become 14 and 14. And now we go into the playoffs, right? But if you eliminate a division, you're getting rid of those sub 500 teams. And there wouldn't be a 2-8 Charter Oak. There won't be a 2-8 Upton or a 1-9 St. Pius. And so then everyone's in their appropriate leagues. You don't got these whack teams that didn't really play really well, but because they're in a big league and they got 4,000 kids like Upland this year, you know, that's kind of unfair. All right, we'll cut them out. Just cut a division out. And that's how you fix it, bro.
No, that definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense, man. Alfredo, man, I don't want to hold you up too much. I got some more. I don't want to hold you up, but Alfredo, I do want people to know, man, like I said, Alfredo does comedy. So where can people find you, man? And
I appreciate that.
Go out to the shows as well, man, and follow you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So, man, I have been working so much. It was a New Year's, what do they call those? A New Year's
resolution.
It was a New Year's resolution. And I took a class and I just fell in love with it, man. So I've only been doing it a year and a half, but I've already been in shows like at the Ice House in Pasadena. I've been at Tacoma, Washington at the comedy place up there. I've been to places in Arizona at Stir Comedy. You can find me on IG at Funny Fredo. And then I put all where I'm going to be at on there. I appreciate you for saying that, man. We all need an outlet.
Yep.
We can't be just living in our little football bubbles, sports bubbles, family bubbles. We need stuff for ourselves. You know what I mean? Something, whether it's cars or drawing or playing a game or whatever it is. And this has been a healthy outlet for me, man. And I appreciate you saying that, because I got to fill my IG fan base up, man. I got to add Ryan. Ryan don't even have me on his IG right now, man. I got to get him added.
Yeah, man. I got hacked a couple years ago. I got.
See, I would expect Ryan to say he got hacked. He got all the ladies out there. You know what I mean? Somebody was in his business.
Yeah, man. Now that's awesome, man. But Alfredo, appreciate you. Thank you for your time, man.
For sure, man.
And blessings on the career with you. And hopefully the 20th we get some more information regarding what the school district is going to do. And this is also after COVID. Of course, this happened to everybody, which is very unfortunate. But we just had the Eaton Canyon fires that's happening to our community out to Pasadena, and now these cuts. So, our hearts, our hats, our prayers go out to the families, out to our community, but we also bounce back. And I thank you for sharing this information with us, though.
I appreciate y'all, man. You guys are doing a great job with your platform. I can't tell you again how proud I am of you guys. I thank you for the opportunity, man. And hey, Dina love all day long.
Yes, sir. Dina.
Nice
all right, Fredo.
All right, fellas. Talk to you later.
Talk to you. Man, that was a lot, man. That was, bro. That's a lot, bro. What you think, man?
A lot to think about.
What's your main takeaways from the conversation with Alfredo, man?
Special education not gonna be touched, thank God. But the biggest question is, it's just what would the future look like, and just talking to Fredo, kind of like, it's kind of like more clear as far as like, what we want to do as far as like coaching and stuff like that, how we are thinking about enrollment and stuff like that. Like, we think all the time, like, man, how we gonna even come up with a JV team? How we gonna come up with a freshman team? And there's pros and cons to these budget cuts and these school merges and stuff like that. So it could benefit us. And I think right now, as far as in the city, we got the biggest opportunity for the kids. So yeah.
Yeah, man, we definitely have to monitor the situation. I like the idea, possibly, unfortunate for Marshall and Blair to cut their academics, but we discussed this many years. They should have been did it, but
if Pasadena had Mir and PHS, we would look like Poly in modern day, how modern Boston look right now. So, I think it's finally coming into fruition, but it's just, it's expensive. And what it's costing is, this is basic. This is basic in business is opportunity costs and economic stuff like that. So this is just a part of the game, and part of the business.
But I also do like that a school will offer a specific sport, like, say, for instance, let's say if Marshall is the only school that offers tennis. Like, then if you're a tennis player, you go to tennis, but not only that, the quality of coach should be better. Like, because let's say if you go to HS or Mir and they offer tennis, what is the quality of coaching that you're getting? Well, if they we specialize only in tennis, hopefully the quality is good. So now you're going to be an elite tennis player. So I do like that idea, because if one school is offering it, but it still allows you to enroll at a PHS, and now you get to go to Marshall.
Part about this whole this deal is being able to continue your sport if they still have it, or if they don't, if they cut it, I can go to a better school and have better opportunity with my school, and I don't have to change academics.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty solid. Just get it, I think, yeah. So I'm in agreement with that. I hope they get that rolling with, I guess, what would that be? Dual enrollment for high schoolers or athletes, or
that'd be an open district. Yeah, open district and dual. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because certain schools are like this also in Texas.
Yeah.
And so And I like the way how their divisions are set up. You know, they go 6A, double A, but they don't in triple A and stuff like that. So it kind of like it's pretty much the same as far as how many we have 14 with 6A and double A and triple A. That probably gonna equal up to 14 if you go all the way too. So it's pretty cool. It's all the same, but I think it's more power to the schools that are staples in the city, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Man, we got one more topic, man, and then we're gonna get into flags and no flags. Let's talk about this UCLA and Rose Bowl situation, bro. What are your thoughts on this, and can you inform people what is going on with this situation?
Yeah, so UCLA is looking to capitalize on SoFi Stadium's premium seating and luxury suites. They are uh, breaching the terms of contract that they've signed on 1982. The UCLA's been at the Rose Bowl since 1982, and as far as the contract is concerned, they're supposed to be there another 2 decades, which is 20 years into 2044. I guess the reason would be, out of 90,000 seats in the Rose Bowl, they only averaged 37,000. Um, that's tough. Just with attendance, population, it's hard to get people at these games, and you're not a winning program. You're prestigious in every other sport except for football. So, and then, as a result, the city is suing UCLA for, breaching those terms. So it's tough, man. But, as far as like why, UCLA would be backing out, I mean, the Westwood UCLA's campus is 12 miles from SoFi Stadium, and the campus is 29 miles to the Rose Bowl. So I mean, you're looking at a closer drive, right? You're looking at the proximity being smaller is pretty cooler. More seats in SoFi Stadium, and you're looking at getting possibly more people to come, but tradition is going to be gone. A lot of things that happen at the Rose Bowl, you're not going to be able to do at SoFi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough, man. I don't really know what to think of it. I don't like it, me personally. I think they should have stood firm on that contract that they agreed upon in the beginning. But um, I don't know how you move from the Rose Bowl. It's the environment is a little different, man. Like when those jets flying over the Rose Bowl and you playing at the granddaddy of them all, you got to see it like that. I don't know how UCLA, the Bruins see it, but I know, playing in Pasadena, being at Pasadena High School, we have a turkey tussle. Man, I love, traveling to the Rose Bowl. And, that's like where a young adolescent really gains hope. Like, if I'm going to do this sports thing, well, I have two premier high schools in my city that I can go to, and I can go play at UCLA.
Yep.
So if I even have visions of playing at UCLA or USC, anywhere at the college landscape, I mean, Pasadena High School and Muir offer these with, the turkey tussle. And, we just heard Fredo say that, that game is not going anywhere. So um, that experience is totally different. I wouldn't know what it's like, being a Bruin, but I can imagine going to high school here and then being able to go to college here. That's pretty ecstatic, man. So I don't know, man. I don't like this move. What do you think though?
So I don't like it. I'm a UCLA fan, and I actually had the opportunity to go up there and work with their DBs. So that was like a surreal moment, right? And I don't understand it. And from what my research is reading about it, it had more so to do with they wanted to. So the Rose Bowl, as far as the facilities, are not up to date to SoFi, and we're talking about digital marketing. So UCLA wants to, and I could be wrong, but this is what I read. UCLA wants to be able to offer more sponsorships, like get more sponsorships to at their games, at the football games, and
Right.
at the Rose Bowl, they technically can't do that. Um, So that's why they want to make the move. On top of, they're not filling the stadium as well. Well, first of all, I don't think anyone's still going to go to the SoFi. Because now the fans have to deal with traffic. That traffic a little different going to the Rose Bowl than going to SoFi.
We all live here. We didn't call a couple people. Hey, can I park at?
Yeah. So and then two, you're leaving a historic. This has been voted number one like destination to play. Like we're not even talking about the field. We're talking about the mountains, the weather,
everything about out here, right?
everything. So you're now going to leave that because of you think you're going to get more sponsor dollars.
That's the tradition I'm talking about. That they're going to be leaving with this move. That's tradition.
That don't even make sense right there. And then the Rose Bowl already said they was going to upgrade it. And for people who don't know, the Rose Bowl is a private, entity. So they own it. So they, this is why they have a lot of say so. Now, what I don't like about this is Pasadena, the community vetoes a lot of stuff. They don't allow certain things. Like that's why we haven't had another Super Bowl at the Rose Bowl. We're fortunate to have bowl games, right? Where now we have the Rose Bowl game and whatnot. But for us not to have college football in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl, that's going to be a crime. It's going to be a disservice. I understand. Probably they see the numbers or whatnot, and hopefully they're able to work this out with the Rose Bowl. And maybe this might be a leverage strategy where now they're just trying to get a different deal. Hopefully that's the case. But I do have a suggestion. If UCLA does leave, I do have a suggestion for the Rose Bowl. It might be crazy. It might make no sense. But since the Rose Bowl, and the Rose Bowl, for people who don't know, the Rose Bowl turned down people more than they accept. Once again, they get to choose. We're not working with certain people. But at the same time, if you're not going to have any football in your fall at all, you might as well have HS and Mir play their home games there. It's a neutral site. So now who knows? The community definitely gonna come out to a Rose Bowl game. They're gonna support that. But now, if this is HS and Mir's home game, and of course everybody can't play home at the same time, so we can work out those schedules. But now, every time there's a home game, it's gonna be at the Rose Bowl. Will it fill out? No. But now you putting butts in there, and you can keep the same deal that you got with UCLA. So if people don't know, UCLA in the Rose Bowl, they worked out a revenue split, which is that's the same as the turkey tussle. So you don't have to pay for that. You just split the revenue. Will the revenue be the same as UCLA? No. But at the same time, UCLA not winning anyway, so it ain't gonna be too much anyways, right?
It ain't hurt anybody to do this.
Yeah. So you're filling up, but not only that, it's a opportunity for people to still come down, and you can still do your best. They still gonna do their thing, but that's just my suggestion. Don't know if it's crazy or not, but if y'all gonna do that and you want football, you might as well let the Pasadena schools come in there and play their home games. I think it makes sense, but we will see what happens.
You need to wish on stars just like that. Sure.
Because everything come down to money, and of course, if it makes sense, and I think anyways, at the end of the day, regardless what happens with our cuts with our schools, if there is two schools, I think it should be just one field. Anyways, at the end of the day, just like in certain other schools, there's just a district field where they play at one location and they just change the home games. That would be dope if it's the Rose Bowl for Pasadena high schools. That would be dope. That would be hard if the district field is the Rose Bowl. That would be fine.
I mean, you see, like if you think about it, you have these teams like who you got? Covina, Northview. They all play at Covina District Field, and it's packed every week.
Yep.
Every week it's packed. Now, if we get this going, get this ball rolling, I think it could be like the early, games that used to be held at PCC. Those high school games that used to be held there. Like those games were jam-packed, standing room only. And that's what we all looking for.
Nah, facts. And just a little history. I don't know how much, but 07, my senior year, attendance wise, I was told that is the highest turkey tussle. So attendance. So if we can get that though for games just during the season, I think would be good because that game was packed. That game was packed.
Yeah, sure.
That game was packed. So if we can get that across the board, yeah.
Oh, City was out for that one for sure.
Yeah, that would be dope, man. That would be dope. So, man, let's hop into flag or no flag, man. We got some good ones, bro. It's a lot of stuff that happened. Let's start with the Giants, bro. Let's start with the Giants. Do you think it is a flag with the way that the Giants or the head coach mismanaged their quarterback, their first round or whatever pick he was, Jason Dart, him getting hurt, and then Brian Dabo, he got fired. Do you think it's a flag with how that the Giants mismanaged their quarterback?
Most definitely. Especially when you have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the roster. I think with these two quarterbacks you have on the roster, you have more time to play the rookie. I think as far as wear and tear, this guy doesn't have none because he's not going to experience because he's still going through the mode of getting, under, NFL, timing and stuff like that. Russell Wilson said that he was getting ready after he took a couple falls to the ground and he was ready to go in. So as far as the protocol is, motionless player on the ground and helmet to the ground and contact to the occipital back here. So he ended up doing that and, they ended up checking him out into the tent. And then, you see Dabo going in there, everybody laughing and, it's, funny games and stuff like that. But nowadays we got studies on CTE and things like that. Just last year we had Tua Tagovailoa suffer 3 concussions. So, how far do we go with this? As far as protocol and how severe are you to act on certain things like that? So I think I think it was clear as day. It was mismanaged, but we got to learn from other experiences. Like we mentioned earlier, you can be wise from learning what not to do. And I think we're just not applying certain things. And we most definitely need to when, we are in control of players, especially as coaches. We manage coaches and then, you got owners that manage the coaches. So I think, they poorly mismanaged that one for sure. Cause he shouldn't be taking none of this damage. And then you put him in, you replace Russell, and Russ is not playing too bad, but you replace him. You get the spark that the team needs, but you're getting a rookie injured, and now you go Jameis Winston. Now, who's to say that Jameis couldn't provide that spark? How he is on social media and, the funny post-game pressers and stuff like that. So, we know who can provide that spark. I think that's why they, made him a backup to Russell Wilson. The owners did, what they needed to do. And, I feel like it's the right move. I mean, they've mismanaged a lot of players. I mean, it's not just, this year. They traded Saquon Barkley and a lot more other guys. We can keep going, it's about time they start moving in the right direction. And I think this was probably, the first move that, needed to be done, to move on and onward. So.
Yeah, no, facts. I definitely think it's a flag. I think the GM should have got fired too. I think he was a big component in the Saquon and Daniel Jones.
That's what Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and I think they fired the head coach, but I think they was attached to everybody. It's unfortunate you never want to lose a job, but at the same time, when you are dealing with young men and especially head concussion. And this is a top draft pick that you guys invested in. And he's already had 4 concussions or gotten tested for 4 concussions already as a rookie. That's not a good sign. So definitely is a flag. But Jason Dart, I will say this. He definitely gave them a spark, but how much of this is detrimental because they still only won 1 or 2 games. And now
Right.
I can see like he turned the season around. Like, do we risk it?
It
You
is
guys
not, yeah,
are losing.
they can't figure it out.
Yeah, you guys are losing. So yeah, definitely a flag. So the Lakers. Let's talk about the Lakers. The Lakers are 8-4. They 4th or 5th in the Western Conference right now. LeBron James has not played and suited up. Now at times the Lakers have looked good, other times they have not. Do you think it's a flag or no flag to even consider possibly trading away LeBron James away from the Lakers?
I think it's a flag. I most definitely think it's a flag to consider that only due to we haven't seen what this team could be like with LeBron James. He's been out. He hasn't played this year. So, we're adding pieces and stuff like that to pretty much see like, all right, what this team would be, but we'll never know until, LeBron gets out there. So, flag to consider that for sure. I think we can't jump the gun. It's important to be a little patient, especially with somebody who's in their 40s, who's played 20 plus years. Been to the finals 10 to 11 times. Yeah. So yeah, if anybody deserves some grace, it's most definitely LeBron in returning, and so we can see how this team is. So 8-4, not too bad out of 12 games.
Yeah, yeah. So I think LeBron is the greatest basketball player all around as far as this game. With that being said, I think it's no flag to trade him. I mean, I think it's no flag if they consider trading him. Now, if they do it, hey. The reason why I say that, knowing how LeBron is very ball dominant. So he takes the ball out of everybody else's hand, which it has hindered, and everybody's like, oh, he can change. It hasn't changed his whole career, regardless of where he's been at. So I think it's going to mess up how everybody's going off. Luka's getting 30. You got Reed scoring his career highs. You got dudes, the ball is swinging. Yes, I understand LeBron with all his greatness. There is, some some negatives to his game. That I'm not saying his game, but just as a basketball team in general. The reason why I think it is a flag, though, is because he is the best player in the
Correct.
world. As a business, it doesn't make sense. I have this asset, and he is alone makes our ticket sales go up just by himself, rather he's on the team playing or not. So it wouldn't make sense from a business wise to trade him, especially when he's under contract. We have the best man on in NBA history, all around game, and he's on our team. Doesn't make sense to trade him. But when it comes to a team aspect, as far as moving on, because at some point in time you're gonna have to move on, rather it's this year, next year. I think it's no flag, but it's a flag just from a business standpoint. Like, nah, it don't make sense. We got LeBron under contract. Nah, let's stay with this.
I think they've done some things as far as the move. I mean, it's coming, it's inevitable, and I think that's the reason why the roster looks how it looks with Luka, Jackson Hayes, and stuff like that. They're getting younger, but they're also they got another superstar in Luka. So it wouldn't, the Lakers, they're gonna always have 1 or 2 of those. There's no way, Lakers were just gonna rebuild with no superstar.
Mm-hmm.
So they're always gonna have one to build around. Right now, these are healthy problems to have because you can build around Bron and Luka, and then you have Bronny coming in. So as far as they just have a past and future team right now. I think and it's pretty good because they got experience and then they got youthfulness at the same time. So we're gonna see once LeBron gets back for sure.
Definitely gonna see. Shout out to the Dodgers for winning the World Series. We're gonna talk about this, but we gotta say shout out to them. Definitely gonna talk about that. So the last flag, man, is as an athlete, rather, you're college or, now you're professional, is it a flag or no flag dating someone that has been with everybody in your industry? So if you're a basketball player, you date a girl that everybody else has been with, rather teammates, ex-teammates, whatever it is. Do you think that's a flag or no flag?
I think it's a flag, yeah, most definitely, because we're not going to drink water that everybody drank off of. And that's just pretty much how that's going to go. And if I got a destination and a certain route to get there, then I need a woman that fits that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Value is everything to me. So we're not having just touchables. That's
I,
tough.
I feel like that's a flag. I feel like there's too many women in the world to be messing with the same person.
There's so many out here.
So it's so many. Like I'm in a different country. Like there's
Right.
so many different women in the world, and for you to mess with only, let's say 50 that y'all all messing with, like
You live on an island, it's not even like that.
yeah. And then at this point, and I can see if it was dating, like we just dating, that's it. But people got kids with these people. People like are getting intimate, and now a person that you never would have contact with, they get traded to your team. Like just imagine you get a call and he see it like, oh man, I remember those calls, like like the stuff that's going through your mental. And as an athlete, you feel me? Which we base everything off of confidence, who we are as a person. Yeah, bro. To me, that's a little weird, man. It's a little spooky.
Mental health is a thing, especially
Yeah,
mental health, man. Take care of it.
that is, bro. That is. Ah, man, this is a lot, bro. This is a lot, man. It was a great episode. Rod, man, how you feel, man? How you feel about the first one?
First one out the way. Jitter's gone. I'm good. I'm gonna be, a little bit more well versed next one. I took a lot of notes. So I kind of expected, what I expected, and it came. I'm honored to be on here, so let's get it, And I'm gonna bring some personality, some spunk, but just, my first go around. So, I'm like firm and like, but I'm gonna loosen up as we go on. So that's probably a fact right now. We go up for sure, and we gonna get it rolling.
I bet, man. All is good, man. Like I said, Aaron is currently out right now. We got Ryan stepping in. Bro, this was a lot of information, great details, great info. Hey, for you guys who have not followed, follow us on World Elite Sports, on Instagram as well. We're going to tag everybody, but continue to spread love. Also, on the YouTube, make sure y'all commenting, make sure y'all liking, interacting with us, know what topics you guys want to discuss and what's going on. And yeah, man, we appreciate all the love and support for real.
Big time. Blessings. God bless you guys.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll talk to you, bro.
All right,